Behind me is the park of the Via Latina. The Via Latina is a very old Roman road, even older than the Appian Way. So on this road are many tombs that we're gonna go have a look at. So let's go. You can see the stones for the road, but they're mostly covered by the pine needles from these pines that we see here. So these are typical Roman pines. They're pine trees that grow in the city of Rome. And they're kind of funny because, well, the pines, they just grow on top. They look like normal trees. They don't really have the conical Christmas tree look that we're used to. All right, so here we have the first tomb of the road. So this is a tomb dating back to the 2nd century AD. And its original structure is still preserved, as we can see here. All right, we've got some foundations next to it, probably of some other structure. You can see it's made of brick, and it's surprisingly well preserved considering its age. So you can see here in the back there's a door, so there is an interior as well as a basement, though we cannot access that. All right, let's continue on to the next part of the road. There's some remains here, and the sign says that it's the remain of a Columbarian tomb. So most of the tombs here have fallen into decay, and there's not really much structure left. So a lot of it had not been excavated, so probably like a lot of Rome, things got covered up and forgotten about. All right, we have another archaeological site right here. This is the Sepulcher Fortunati 25. There's a plaque here, but it's all whited out and we can't really read what it's about. So this park is an archaeological site, so you can see there's probably some work being done over there, though obviously not at the moment. And what's great about this place is that unlike most of Rome, there's no one else here. So if you want a quiet time in Rome, if you even just want to relax, I mean, I'm surprised there's not locals sitting on the benches here. I mean, this park is empty, but it's absolutely beautiful. Man, if I lived here, I think I'd come here all the time. But that's just the thing. Maybe you're in Rome and there's just so much to do and see that you don't come here. Incredible. So actually, there's the Aqueduct Park not too far from here. And I've seen a lot of people jog there and walk their dogs. So maybe they just prefer that park. It's a much bigger park, that one. This one's quite small. So we have some more remains. What do we have here? The Sepulchri Laterizi. So it's some brick tombs from the 1st century onwards. Oh, there's a little plant growing out of a stump there. That's kind of neat. And right next to this archaeological park, there is a soccer field. You can see the nets back there. And then to our right here, we have the remains of a pillar tomb. So I don't know what a pillar tomb would have looked like when it was complete. I guess a pillar, maybe the body would have been buried underneath. I'm not too sure. That'd be actually interesting to find out. So yeah, so here's the remains of a pillar tomb. Looks like there's a plaque up there. I'm gonna go read it and see what it says. And unfortunately, the plaque has been degraded. It's rotted away. Well, like some of the tombs here. Well, too bad. And it looks like there's something more recent up here. Looks like a Nazzoni. There's no water coming out of it. Is this an actual Nazzoni with a controllable spout? Oh. Yeah, let me refill my water bottle actually. It's quite hot here. It's early September right now, but it's pretty hot. Okay. Let's continue. So there's a little sign nailed to this tree, so it says it's part of the archaeological part of the Appia Antica, so that's the old Appian Way. Yes, I guess the Appian Way part covers a lot more than just the Appian Way, because this is not the Appian Way, but the Latin Way. So you can see some stones here. Kind of looks like the kind used on the Via Sacra in the Forum. Alright, so here's the next tomb. It's the last well-preserved one. Oh, there's some chairs in there. It looks like they have events or something. It's kind of neat. So this is the Sepulcher of the Valeri. So the above part here was reconstructed in the 19th century. So this is not original. Oh, so we know how old it is because the bricks were actually stamped with the date, which was 159 AD, though it would have been the names of the consuls that were ruling at that moment. So this tomb is attributed to the Valeri family, but it hasn't been confirmed. So we don't actually know for sure. So there are two separate portions that were not connected, the above ground and the underground. You can access the underground down there. Well, we can't access it, but it is accessible somehow. So they were not connected, you had to go outside. All right, so this is the tomb of the Valeri. Then there's a portion here, some sort of wall. I wonder if the wall might have encircled the tomb, like would it have been protected by these walls? On a lot of the roads in Rome, you see walls, so people, to this day, they protect their homes with walls, so people don't go there. Here, let's see if we can get a good view of the staircase down here. Yeah, so it goes down, then it turns to the left. It's as if they have courses here or something. There's a computer there and some chairs. Got a nice vaulted ceiling. Oh, and of course, graffiti. There's always graffiti. Why would you do that? So this column is made out of brick, so I'm guessing that is not original. Then you have some sort of marble or maybe travertine column here, which is probably original. So this probably survived, and this column was reconstructed. So even though it's reconstructed, there are obviously parts of it that are still original. The which parts, I don't know. I can't say. So there's an archaeological site here. See a neat design on the walls here. Unknown what this was, or at least unknown to me. Alright, so here's another structure. This is the Sepulcro dei Pancrazi. So the Sepulcher of the Pancrazi. There's a plaque here, but it's very cracked and whited out, so we can't really see what's written there. But here's the structure. This was surely reconstructed. The condition of the walls is way nicer. It's just too nice to be original. So here's the foundations. So on the sign here it says it's funerary buildings. So is this where they prepared the bodies? Is this where they were laid to rest? I'm not sure what that means. What exactly is a funerary building? I wonder what that is. It's like a passageway of some sort, but it looks small to be for people. I wonder if that was for, is that an oven? Is that a fireplace? Looks like there was a ramp, maybe water came there? I wonder. This is kind of neat. You can see where parts of the stone have been worn away, so probably these were wagon wheels that carved this out throughout the ages. You can see along here as well that, see this little groove that's been carved out. So over the centuries, the wagon wheels would have carved this out. Then you can see this too on the other side. You can see here, the side of this stone has been worn down, probably by the wagon wheels here. Further down here, you can see it's more apparent. And you won't see the wear on all the rocks because as some rocks got too worn out, they would be replaced. So here you can see one of the grooves as well on this side of the road. And while I'm at it, I want to dispel one myth about the Romans. You might have heard this story. Oh, the railways are a certain width because the Roman chariots were a certain width. First of all, there was no such standardization in ancient times. Standardization is a very modern thing. And second of all, the Romans didn't use war chariots. War chariots were obsolete by the time of the Romans. They were War chariots were more associated with the Bronze Age. And they were so obsolete that the Romans laughed at the Britons when they invaded Britain because they still used war chariots over there. Horses are so much better than chariots. The chariot just adds extra weight, and the only reason to use a war chariot is because you haven't figured out how to ride horses on a saddle. That's the only reason to use war chariots. War chariots were not good. The Romans did not use them. They rode their horses. But they did race chariots because it was a lot of fun, and they did use them for ceremonial purposes, but never for war. All right, so just some more foundation. Oh, and you know what? We can see some aqueducts from there. So those aqueducts are in Aqueduct Park, which is my next stop. Gonna be looking at a bunch of aqueducts later today. So the road here is coming to an end. This would have continued all the way to Capua, I believe, in ancient times. This road would have been one of the main ways to get to Campania. So Campania is the region south of Rome. Naples is in Campania. So the road ends here. It's a closed fence, so I'll have to walk all the way back probably. It's not a far walk, it's probably less than a kilometer. So let's go up these stairs. We can get a better look at this structure here. It's severely prohibited to cross that fence. So you can see a bit of the foundation and the rest of that wall. So this is the Sepulcher of Valeri. Now here is a photo. It's a guy standing in front of it, but there's a lot more than what's in the photo. So there was a collapse. So this is the tomb, and this is after, what we see here was after the collapse. It only collapsed in the last couple of hundred years probably. Oh, it collapsed in 1959. Jeez. So this made it all the way up to the modern period and then collapsed. They made things well back then. Yeah, so this is another 2nd century AD tomb. So these tombs were built many hundreds of years after the road was built. The road was built in the 4th century BC. So this road continued to be used. And why are there all these tombs along the road? Well, the reason is this was outside of the walls of Rome, and you could not bury your dead within the walls, probably for hygienic reasons. You don't want disease spreading inside of your city because you buried people there. Oh wow, there's a green bird right here. What? It's like some sort of tropical bird? What? Wow, that's amazing. I stopped recording to see if I could get a picture of the bird, but it flew away. All right. So yeah, this tomb survived for 1800 years, and then it collapsed in 1959. That's like 60 something years ago. Just imagine in the medieval period, there would have still been a lot more intact tombs, and just imagine what that would have been like. Back here, there's a road, there's some warehouses or garages or something. Yeah, so we're just in the suburbs of Rome right now. This would have been outside the walls, but even outside the walls of Rome, there would have been structures. Later on, there would have been churches. Actually, St. Peter's was outside the walls. And it was actually sacked by pirates in the 800s. I didn't know that until I visited. There's a mural of St. Peter's burning, and that's from the Arab pirates that, well, they sacked it. And then for that reason, a pope built the walls. They're called the Leonine walls, so I'm going to say it was a Pope Leo who had them built. And those are the walls that you see around the Vatican today. And you'll notice that they're different from the Aurelian walls of Rome. And it's all because the Arab pirates attacked the city. So there you have it, folks. That was the Via Latina. So this is a very unknown road. There's nobody in this park. I have this whole park to myself. It's a Friday afternoon, but you'd expect at least seniors would come here or something, or other tourists, but no, I'm the only one. So there you have it, the Via Latina, full of tombs where people were buried. There might still be some undiscovered tombs where there's still bodies. I wonder if anything will come up.